Hello, my beautiful viewers on E360. How are you feeling on this amazing Sunday? Here in South Africa, it's 9 p.m. South African time, but I've guests here that's all around the world. Actually, more only in America, on the northern hemisphere. But we are here. But today is a very special day. First of all, I want to say I'm so happy that I have two amazing communities, the Tanzanite Heroes, my male group, and then my women amazing tribe, Diamond Beauties Forever. And thank you so much for viewing this with us. But the most biggest reason of all, I've got TV host that is part of another family that I belong to. It's all the host that's on E360 TV. And for me, I said to my husband, today is a very, very special day because all of these incredible hosts are doing something beautiful. They inspire, they empower, and they engage their audience. And out of everything, all of their actions is making this world a better place. So, I'm so excited for today. And I've got my glasses here. If any of them are giving me goosebumps, the glasses will go on. And then I have my button here. And then I've got another button now, but I'm not sure if I will be using it. Let me just make sure.
That was easy.
I don't know if I'm going to use that one. So I'm walking on sunshine. Oh, I'm walking on sunshine. Oh, and it's time to feel good. And I am feeling good. I hope I can also ask you, are you feeling good? Are you ready to walk on sunshine? Here we go. I would like to thank my beautiful sponsor, Jose Escobar from the Leaders Academy, to sponsor our show today. And after the video, my guest will be here. My guest will be here. Here we go.
Is Jose Escobar. I live in Washington, D.C. area. I'm a family man. I'm an entrepreneur, coach, author, and speaker. I have communities. I support people. I'm a servant leader, and the list goes on. And I'm primarily the CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. That's my bread and butter. That's my core offer, right? That's where I put most of my time and energy. And the Connected Leaders Academy is a growing community. It's a tribe of some of the highest level entrepreneurs from all over the world. We're now over 350 plus members, 42 states across the US, and 17 international countries. If you're an entrepreneur out there that's looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more money, more clients, right? This is the community for you.
My guest is here. My guest is here. I'm so excited. Welcome, my beautiful E360 family. And all of you are hosts, and all of you have amazing shows. So I'm going to ask each and every one of you to introduce yourself. Please tell us your show's name and when are your show being broadcast. So Phil, if I can start with you, please.
Sure. My name is Phil Masiello. My show is called Think, Engage, Thrive. It's on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And can you tell us also a little bit about yourself, please, Phil?
Sure. I've been an entrepreneur for my entire life. I started my first business when I was 27. I've gone on to start 4 other businesses. And what I try and do with the show is inspire entrepreneurs and get them to understand what they're going to face in order to be successful as entrepreneurs.
I love it. I love it. Thank you. And am I allowed to click a button for you?
Sure.
Thank you for making the world a better place, Phil. Thank you so much. My beautiful Laura, please introduce yourself and tell us all about your show as well.
So, Laura Cross, and I am the host of Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross. It is actually part of the name. It is at 1 p.m. Central Time on Mondays. And my show is all about providing education, resources, connection, and collaboration to support others on their wellness journey.
And can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
So, I am an Air Force veteran, blue collar worker turned entrepreneur, someone that has, been through lost my husband almost 20 years ago and stuff, and which is why I build these communities so that people don't feel like they're alone, because I think we can do more together.
I loved it. Can I also click on the button for you, please, my beautiful Laura?
Yes, please.
Oh, I almost didn't want to stop. Thank you so much for what you are doing for the world, my beautiful Laura. My beautiful Jeff, can you introduce yourself and also tell us a little bit about your show?
Yes, thank you so much for having us all here. This is great. Jeff Pearson. I'm in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and my show is called Invisible Condition. We're on every Tuesday and every Friday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, and the show is there to showcase amazing individuals who are living and yet thriving despite having some sort of invisible condition. And I see several people on this call that have been on the show, which is awesome. And so it's so cool to see everybody here.
And can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please, Jeff?
Yes, I was born and raised in Colorado. I've been married to my beautiful wife for we just hit 25 years in June. We've got 3 beautiful children, and I've been an entrepreneur and business owner for just a few years. I feel like I'm just getting started, but we've got a lot of things going. So I'm excited to talk about it. So thank you for having us.
Thank you. Yes, your button.
All right.
Thank you. My beautiful Barbara, can you please introduce yourself? And the diamond especially kept on for you today, no butterfly. So, and can you please tell us about your show? But you're also a president of your own network, so you can also mention that. Thank you so much, my beautiful Barbara. Oops, let me just unmute you. Just wait. Let me go down. Okay, you're unmuted.
It didn't want me to talk. Thank you so much, Queen, and all the beautiful kings and queens that I'm sharing the screen with. I always love collaborating. My name is Barbara J. Beckley, and yes, the background, I love it, Queen, because it's the Diamond Factor Network that I have under E360. That's the channel that I'm over. One of my shows that I have out of a few is the one it's called The Coach's Lounge. And I created that show because I didn't see too many shows that was really given the love, the spotlight, highlighting coaches, consultants, and educators. So I welcome all of that to that show because you get 30 minutes just to talk about who you are. I always say the diamond factor in you, and that's why I created that show. I know you can go ask me a little bit about me. Just go right into that. I've been doing the media video, bringing people on for the last 7 years. Before that, I am an anti-shy person now. I was very, very shy. Was scared to even talk because I felt like I wasn't worthy. And that's why I'm doing what I do now, because I'm trying to show people now that you are worthy, that you are special, that you have something in you that is so amazing. Each and every one of us, I don't care who you are on this earth. And I told myself, okay, I got to start somewhere first. I got to be the example so I can bring other people in. So that's why I do what I do.
Wow. I really love that. And you also gave us your golden nugget. Your golden nuggets there's everybody has a diamond factor in them. That's your
Yes.
golden nugget. So may I give you the button?
I got to get that button.
I got these 2 buttons in New York when I was there in April. my book and Soul of a Diamond was on the biggest jumbotron. So if you tell me, Sanet, a lady from South Africa will have her book and the project I was working on the biggest jumbotron, I would have said get out of town, but it was there. And then I visited this lady in New York. She's part of the project, and also on the E360, Gigi, I don't know if you know Gigi, Giovanna Tartona. She gave me two buttons, and I'm pressing these two buttons every day. I love them. I love them. Thank you so much, my beautiful Barbara, my beautiful Sarah. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us about your show?
Absolutely. Simply Sarah is on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. And the whole focus of the show is to be gifting energetic tools for people who are entrepreneurs who are on their way. And sometimes the tools are things that we used in the beginning of our businesses and we forgot and we just kind of let them go on the wayside. And sometimes they are tools that really challenge us in the moment of that's a new tool. Is that something that I could take on energetically and use as I build my business, as I impact the world? And I see it very much for entrepreneurs, but I also see it for leaders. And for me, a leader can be someone at the top of their game in an industry. A leader can also be a mom who's staying home and choosing to raise the children. And so the show really is for everybody.
I love that. And a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. I was born and raised in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And so, Sanet, we are both Africans. And then came to the States for college. My parents are American. And so it was expected that I would continue university training here and did, and have lived in a number of different states and now live in the most biodiverse area in the entire globe. We are in East Tennessee, snuggled up next to the Smoky Mountains. And it has really, truly been something that takes my heart back to living at the equator in Africa, having so many different animals, and just the biofield around us is amazing.
I actually have to put on my glasses because she just
Oh,
gave me goosebumps. So I was very privileged to be on your show as well. Thank you for having me on your show. And we could connect so easily because we know about load shedding, not having enough power. Because in when we had our coffee chat, me and Sarah, the our power went off, and I just she came back on, and I said, sorry, I'm just waiting for my husband to quickly put on the generator because it was an unexpected load shedding. So we do get 2 to 3 hours, sometimes 6 hours on, 6 hours off, no power, and that is continually. So we are used to it, but when it happens, when it's unexpected, we have to quickly make a plan. So thank you for having me on your show, Sarah. And one of the things that came to me when I was on your show, how easy was for me to answer all your questions. And we didn't do any preparation before, it was just organic. And you let me feel like I'm at home with you. So thank you for being an amazing host. I love being with you. Yes, yours.
thank you.
Thank you, my beautiful Kelly. Thank you for being here. And I know that you were, I call it under the weather, but somebody said the other day for me, you cannot say this. That's not the right naming convention. I said, oh, I'm talking English, and under the weather is part of what we will say if you don't feel well. But I cannot remember what he told me something else, and I thought, okay, I never heard that before. So I don't know what's the right American saying for that, but thank you so much for being here. Please tell us about your show and also a little bit about you.
Of course, under the weather works. That's fine. It's all in my head. So that's why you can hear it. But, the show must go on. I have my own show, which is called Make Mental Health Matter. I did a recording yesterday, sick also. And it is all about bringing information and resources in the mental health, substance use, and suicide, or just the space of knowing and bringing stories and showing that you're not alone in whatever you may be going through. And it airs on E360 TV at 5 p.m. Mountain Denver time. And then also it goes out to Dream Vision 7 Radio at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Mountain Denver time. So I just bring guests who are professionals in the mental health space, advocates of mental health, and those with lived experience.
And thank you so much, my beautiful one. And can you tell us a little bit about yourself? And also, I was on your show and I learned about the colon as well. So I never knew about it until I was on your show.
Yeah, so I am the founder of Make Mental Health Matter nonprofit, formerly BCC Evolution. We just did a rebrand this year to really align with what we do, but we give the tools, the education, and the resources to those that want to be proactive versus reactive, and then also supporting those that are struggling by connecting them into resources. And Sanet, I have been on multiple of your summits and your show. I love the connection that we have. And yeah, we had a conversation all about the semicolon, which, if you know anything about Project Semicolon, they were the initial ones that founded it. But basically, you have the option, if you're writing a story, to continue the sentence with a semicolon, or you could put a period to end the sentence. And so when we think about mental health and suicide, you are the author of your story and your story can continue. And that's where the semicolon really came from. And it's just a sign that people know, especially in the suicide prevention and awareness community, showing that whether your story is one that you have chosen to continue or you're continuing the story of somebody that you might have lost, which I lost my middle sister in 2017, and I have chosen through my nonprofit to continue her story.
Thank you. Thank you, my beautiful Kelly. So, Kelly, before I go back to Phil, I just wanted to let you know. So, we talked about a semicolon and I knew exactly what it was. And when I was my travels in America, my friend had to take me to the airport in Omaha, Nebraska, a little bit earlier. Otherwise, I would have taken an Uber. So I said, no, she can go and drop. I know the airport is very small, but it's okay. I will, with my hat, my other hat with the flowers, I always get people to talk to me. So I will entertain myself. So I think I was about 3 hours before the time I should be there. I was there. And I was sitting across of this gentleman, and he had earphones in, but he had the most saddest eyes. And he had a military outfit on. And but he was a very tall guy because his boots were almost on top of my knees. Not really, but I had to swift a little bit to the side, and he's stretching his feet out, and he had quite big boots on, so I'm sure he was a tall fellow. And then I saw the marking here, and I was telling myself, please look at me, please make eye contact, because I really wanted to see if I cannot give him a little bit of Sanet sparkle while we're in the airport. And I've got time. And he doesn't want to look up. He's like, his eyes was down. And I thought, okay, his boots is near enough. I'm going to kick it. So I crossed my legs, but as soon as I crossed it, I hit his boot. And I said, I'm so sorry. And he took his earphones out and I said, I'm so sorry. He said, no, sorry, ma'am. I am taking your space. And that's just what Sanet needed it. I looked him in the eye and I grabbed his arm here where the semicolon was. And I said, I'm so happy that you are still here. So needless to say, we had a talk until I flew out. And I do hear about that gentleman quite often on Messenger. And I never knew that day I was the catalyst for him to decide not to end his life. So I was so thankful, Kelly, for you telling me about this, that I had the courage to kick this gentleman's shoulders boot and talk to him that day. So thank you. Thank you. So Phil, Are you ready for your next question?
Sure. Fire
So,
away.
so we're going to talk about courage. So first of all, what does courage mean for you? And then can you tell us something that you had to be brave in one of your shows when something happened and you had to don't panic and you had to be brave?
Well, I think courage is just facing your fears. I think to me that's, and I've had to do a lot of that in my life, especially when you start up a business and you put money on the line and things don't necessarily go so well, and it's Friday and you've got to make payroll and you're maxing out your credit cards to do it. You're scared. And it takes courage to continue to do it. It takes courage to continue to push forward. You have to believe in something, but on my show, we've had many problems with technology failing. That doesn't bother me so much. I don't panic. I sort of make a joke out of it. We had it one time um, where for some reason the guest was having a huge delay, and I would say something and he wouldn't hear it for almost a minute, which was awkward. And so he's answering a question that I asked a minute ago, and I'm on to a next question, and I'm thinking he doesn't want to answer that question. So we finally got together on it, but it happened for about 20 minutes and I couldn't figure out why, other than that it might have been something on his side, and because he was overseas, and it might have been something on his side throttling down the internet connection. But I I don't get hung up on technology issues. If it happens, it happens. You make a joke out of it, you move on, and you try and fix it. But I think if you stop, then you're going to lose people. But if you sort of make a joke out of it and you keep going and you keep talking about things, then I think they'll stick with you. But again, for me, courage is just facing the things you don't want to face.
Thank you. Thank you, my beautiful Phil. So I wanted to, before going to Laura, was there something that happened to you that was funny, that you started to laugh and you could not get your breath? Did something happen on a show that you hosted with that as well?
I'm sorry, say something that was funny that.
Yeah, funny that you could almost not stop laughing as the host.
Oh yeah, I had I had a guest on last week actually, and he was a young a bunch of young guys, and they started a brewery about I think it was about 7 or 8 years ago, and they were explaining how they got started, and they were explaining that they would brew the beer in this restaurant. They owned a restaurant, a brew pub, and they would brew the beer in the morning, and then at 4 o'clock they would start tending bar. And then on top of that, they lived above the place. So above, one guy's room was the bar, another guy's room was the brewery. And it was hysterical, the stories that he was telling about doing this and living like that, and for 4 years. Well, and it was hysterical. He just made a couple of great comments about and jokes about living his life like that. And I thought that was dedication, because if you're going to live above the place, you're going to work, you're going to do everything in there until they got to the point where they saved up enough money. But yeah, it was just the whole interview for about 30 minutes. We laughed because he was just coming up with story after story, which I love, because at the time when you do a startup and you're rolling and you're trying to scale, you get through all these places where at the time they're just tests for you. They're just tests on whether you have the perseverance. And when you break through and you just keep going, right, at the time, they're painful. At the time you think, oh my God, this is terrible. I'm working so hard. I'm never going to be able to do this. But then when you look at it in retrospect, they're very funny. They're very funny pieces. So
I got goosebumps. I think sometimes people are getting hung up with all their fears and think it's not going to come right. But if they could just have go 2 steps more, then success is around the corner. And so many people give up. So thank you so much for that. So my beautiful Laura, are you ready to tell us what does courage mean for you? And then can you tell us what did you have to do to get courage in a show? And then can you also tell us a funny story? So thank you.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with Phil. I mean, really, it is facing your fears and getting out of it. I mean, because if anybody would have said, "Hey, you're going to be hosting a TV show or something like that," I would have told them no. I didn't even like getting up in front of the classroom to speak. I mean, speech class, I could knock out a 5-minute speech in a minute and a half. Let me sit down before I black out and hit the floor. So and being a business owner or being an entrepreneur, that takes courage in itself, because depending on what generation you grow up in, if you grew up in like my generation, you were expected to go to school, go get a degree, and go work for somebody. It was unheard of to be an entrepreneur, and a lot of people in the older generations don't understand it. So it really does take a lot of courage to go out there and stick with what you know you can do. And I had to ditch the whole perfectionism thing, because yes, starting the TV show, I was worried about this, worried about that. And then I was so flustered. I'm like, you know what? I am perfectly imperfect, and I'm okay with that, because, I'm like, to me, it shows you're human. It's not choreographed. It's not, stuff happens. I'll put it that way. Stuff happens, and you got to roll with it, because life's too short not to laugh at it and not to have fun with it.
Wow, I love it. And any difficulties that you had to take through?
Okay. So we did this yesterday. I was recording yesterday. I record mine because in the name of self-care and sanity, I don't want things like guests not being able to get on, not show up, or my things crash. So I record things. And this poor girl, she came back. This was her second time, because the first time her internet was unstable. We got her plugged in. We get her on there. We get going. Then she's like, "Oh my God, I can't hear you." Like, "What do you mean you can't hear me?" And she goes, "No, I can't hear you." And I played a video. She could hear the videos play, but she couldn't hear me. And I said, "Okay, let's jump on Zoom." Okay, she could hear me on Zoom, but she couldn't do that. Well, it turns out the mic on this headset happened to go out. So I right now have to use the mic through my webcam. So we get all this over. This is day 2. She goes, "Do we need to reschedule?" And she goes, "I was so ready to do this." I said, "No, we got this." So I played my intro, and I thought, wow, that keyed up faster than normal. And we start going and we start talking. And I'm like, "Where's my clock? Why is this not?" Oh my God, I forgot to hit start recording. I had to stop her, and I said, "I am so sorry. Do you have time?" She's going, "I got plenty of time." I'm like, "You're my only appointment for today. We need to take this from the top and start over. I did not record this. I'm sorry." And I so wanted to say take 2 when I did the intro, but I didn't. I'm just like smiling and laughing, because I know in my head this is like, almost like third time's a charm. And, she's laughing. It went well. We got it done, but we're like, oh my God, can anything else go wrong? But yeah.
Was the third time easy to do? I want to press this easy button. Please let me press this one.
You go right ahead.
That was easy.
At worst case scenario, we would have just rescheduled, but because I had time before she was going to air. But I'm like, no, we're good. You're ready. I'm ready. As long as we didn't have any pressing engagements. I said, let's just do this. I'm like, okay. But yeah, it pretty much kept smiles on our face most of the time, because we knew in our heads what we just went through to get up there and get on there. So
oh wow,
it was funny.
Amazing. Before I'm going to ask Jeff the same question, I just want to let you know what happened to me a few weeks ago. This lady had a Great Dane, and you could hear the dog come in. You could hear the nails on the tiles, and she's trying to speak and trying to show her husband to take the dog away, and he decided no, he's not going to go anywhere. He's going to be with, and he went, as he falls down, and she was all red in his face. I said to her, "Is it your dog that's there?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "You love your dog, and because he's part of the family, please keep him there. You don't have to take him out. Let him be there." And she told him he can relax and he can be there. And then he started to lick himself. And it was so, she could not speak because the licking was like for her too much. But for me, I could not stop laughing. It was the funniest thing for me. So I loved it. Thank you so much for reminding me about my guest dog that had a problem. My beautiful Jeff, can you tell us what does courage mean for you? And then if you can tell us also when you had to be brave on your show as the host, and then if there's any funny business that happened to you.
Oh, there's always funny business. We'll get there. Bravery. Two things pop into my head when I think of bravery. One thing is everybody in my amazing community with the condition that I was born with. I've endured 7 brain surgeries so far. Getting through that takes a little bit of bravery, and there are people in my community that have been through many, many, many more than that. So and so that's one thing, bravery, never giving up through all of that craziness, because every time you go in poking around in the brain, you never know what's going to happen. So sometimes you come out with side effects, but you just keep going. You just keep going. One of the crazy things that happened during one of our episodes was way early. I think it was like our 4th or 5th show. And this is before I took Laura's advice and started pre-recording everything. She tried to tell me, you tried to warn me. I finally listened. We had a guest. I'm on 10 a.m. Mountain Time, right? So it's like 9:57. Everybody's all ready to go. She's ready. I'm ready. Everything's cool. And then my entire house loses power. And so needless to say, we didn't go on the air at 10 o'clock that day. We finally got back up and running about 20 minutes after. And by then the live audience was gone. And, but I said, we're going to push through. We're going to do it. We're going to get it on the air. So we did. But that was unexpected. And that, along with several other things that have happened, have inspired me to pre-record my shows now. And we've had stuff like that happen when we're pre-recording, but that's not a big deal. You just do it again. So thank you, Laura. So and you asked about funny things. There's a couple that pop into my mind. One is the first episode we ever did on April 4th of last year, our very first show. My wife was interviewing me as the host. Like, here's the guy you're going to be, looking at. Here's his story. And we were still trying to figure out what buttons to push and what to do and what, and we're looking around and, the end of the show comes and I could not figure out what button to push to end to do the ending outro or whatever and go off the air. And I finally found it and I just burst out laughing. And as soon as I'm laughing, I hit the button and it cuts me off in mid laugh. And there's the closing credit. So anyway, it's, you come a long way, after a year and a half. You just look back at some of those early shows and go, phew, thank God.
I totally agree. I remember those first 3 weeks. I started January last year. I'm sure I got 9 years older in that 3 weeks until I got it under the belt. So everything was new to me. So I do understand. Thank you so much. And the reason why I put my glasses on for you, because you never give up. I love that. You gave me goosebumps. Thank you so much. So, my beautiful Barbara, let me just quickly go and unmute you. Can you tell us about your what does courage mean for you? And then one that was heavy and that you had to overcome your fear, and one that was a funny business.
Wow, I got to thank Laura and Jeff, because again, I learned to probably pre-record. That's a given now. But far as me, bravery, courage, I look at it as embracing your vulnerability. I look at it as embracing to be honest and open with yourself first, and then also to be okay to be uncomfortable. Because I say that because you help so many individuals when you just be yourself. I always believe in that now. A long time ago, I was kind of like, I grew up where my mother was like, you don't tell nobody anything outside of this household. If you do, you'll know what's going to happen. And I was like, okay. And when my mother said she's going to do something, she would do it. Didn't feel too good. But as getting older and going through so much within my life and wishing that people was open at the time to say, it's okay to fail, or it's okay to feel this way, or I went through some drastic things in my life, but I didn't feel open enough to say anything. And that could have caused me to do what I did, what I could have avoided. So I always say embracing your vulnerability is very brave and encouraging for yourself, and you can help others. So far as my shows, because I have the one show I mentioned, but I have the network now, which I have a few other shows and other people's shows. That's bravery of itself. It's one thing to do your own show and make sure you're doing okay. But then when you're producing and coaching other people's shows, that's a whole nother life. One of the things that brings up to that's funny is on my show, The Coaches Lounge, I had a lady come on. She was a coach, and she said, because I always ask, okay, what topic you're going to talk about, so at least I can have that in the notes and everything, so people kind of know, okay, I want to see this show because of this. So she said, oh, I'm going to talk about goals and just making sure that people are on target with that. I said, oh, okay, that's no problem, because she said she coaches personal development. Well, we get on, I'm doing my hey Coaches Lounge, da da da, bring her up, and she's like, hi, and she pushed this mat. She's like, I'm a witch. And I was like, what? I could not find the button to take us to commercial as fast as I could. I'm like, where is my button? So I found the button. I said, right back from our sponsors. Put up the commercial. Love commercials. I do it myself all the time. And she was like, what happened? I don't know what happened. I said, you know what? We're having technical difficulties right now. So we're going to have to kind of move on. And then we'll talk later about that. Yeah. So basically that show was basically moved. And that was live. So that taught me after that to do pre-recording. So it was just to make sure when you have a guest and you have a certain topic you're going to talk about, make sure they're going to talk about that topic and not totally switch. That's what she did. So yeah, that was funny and weird all at the same time.
Wow. That was, yeah, no, I totally agree. So, my beautiful ones, most of the time I do all my shows live, but I will have to start recording because I'm going to go for 4 months to New Zealand. I'm flying out on September the 20th. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to see my grandchildren. I didn't hug them since March last year. And my new grandson, so I've got a 9-year-old Zander, and then 4-year-old Zayden, and now a newborn first week in October, Zachary. So I cannot wait. So I will have to start recording my shows as well. So, but I must say, Barbara, going live, for me, I've got my husband on standby. So now, because it's a time, I cannot put on a generator because it's quite a noisy generator. And here is a lot of kids next door. So I don't want them to, don't to sleep because tomorrow they have to go to school. But my husband's got battery packs that he can connect. So although I will go off and I will come in again, but we are connected. We are I've got to stand by. So I think I'm going to start, Laura, that recording part as well. So I'm looking forward to that. So my beautiful Sarah, if I can ask you the same question, what does courage mean for you? And then a fear part and a funny business show.
So for me, fear is can be two different things. It can be the acronym false evidence appearing real. So things that really are not life-threatening or things that could really cause us to be very fearful or concerned about. So there's that. And for me, in the energetic world, I come as a classroom teacher for 35 plus years. And so coming into the space of having my own show, helping people understand that there are things that we can be speaking to, and we can tell false evidence to take off its mask, like it's masquerading around, right? And it can sit down. And then there's the other kind of fear where we are truly concerned about welfare of things. And so for me, coming to the place, for me, the vast majority of things that I find myself being brave about is really just coming to the awareness of that there are things that are potential stumbling blocks for me, and to be able to see them and then be able to say, oh, I don't need to be afraid of that anymore. I don't need to be concerned about that. I can choose to move forward, right? And then thank you. A funny business. Oh, the next thing is an area that traveling. Yes, I have done a lot of pre-recording of different shows and stuff, but there was an opportunity for me to be interviewed for the LA Tribune, and we happened to be on vacation. And so I was then at the front desk asking, is there a room that I can be in? Is there something that I can use? And just going through that process for me was one of being brave, of stepping up and asking for, and then getting into the room and realizing that I was trying to find things that I could use to get the camera up high enough, right? So I have now learned that when I pack for a trip, that it's wise to carry a little bit of stuff along with me, just in case I need to get on camera and to do. But then the funny business story for me was one that I tried really hard to not laugh on camera. But I didn't know this part of the person's background. But we were having a thunderstorm here, and the lightning had struck, and it sounded like it was right here. And she's texting me saying, "I'm trying to get on, but I can't get in." So I'm texting her saying, we're good, but just give it a second before you try to come back in. We begin the conversation, and one of my first questions so often is, "How did you get to where you are today?" And she wanted me to hone that in a little bit more because she had done so many different businesses. And so I did that for her. And she looks at me and says, "Well, when I was a child living on an island, because her dad worked for the military, I was struck by lightning." And it was everything that I could do to not just burst into laughter, because I knew what it was funny for me, but nobody else would understand the context of that, right? This is a serious thing that happened to her. So I still hold on to that one as a very memorable conversation.
Wow, beautiful. Oh, thank you, my beautiful Sarah. And then for you, my beautiful Kelly.
Um, well, I just I'm reflecting on what everybody really has said. So I know as far as my show, it really took a lot of courage for me to start it. I started it back in 2021 just on YouTube and Facebook, and I started going live, and I had no idea what the heck I was doing. At that time, I had a mentor telling me that I should be speaking and doing all these things. And I was like, what are you talking about? Why would I want to do that? And I one day woke up and I was like, I don't know who's going to be my guest. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to try. And that's when I jumped in. And it wasn't until last year, well, a little over a year, that I came to E360 TV. And then most recently this year, going into radio or ad radio. And I did everything live up until about April of this year. And I was actually kind of worried about doing recordings because I like the authenticity of going live. It also held me accountable to be there and show up. But then I had to do, since I'm going to 2 different platforms, I had to start recording. And I was not very happy about that at first, but I knew that it might be better that way. And the funny, I don't know if it's funny, but it's a challenge. At the time, we were on a program that it's the same one that we're using today, but I did one of my first recordings and I ended up with 30 minutes of somebody else's show in my show, which was bonkers. Like, I saw their video in my show, but you could hear us, not them. I don't even know how the heck that happened, but I reached out to the company and I was like, what is happening? This can't be the thing. And I'm like, see, this is why I don't record this. And that was my process in my head. And I ended up, good thing I did what I did was I kind of patched in like different videos and pictures at the beginning of the 30 minutes because you could hear us. So I'm like, well, show has to go on. You have to keep going. And I ended up patching in just like images and pictures of like the voice. And I don't even know if people actually watched it, but I just thought that was one of the most bonkers situation that I've had as a host, and which actually made me go back to the platform that we used prior because I have much more luck there. So, but I would say, and then one funny thing, actually, I was trying to think, I know that a lot of the conversation that we have on my show is pretty serious because it is people telling their stories and their journeys through mental health or substance abuse or cancer. I have a lot of people that come on that have a lot of trauma and tragedy that they've experienced, but I also have a lot of professionals that come on that are giving resources. One of my most recent favorite ones is he's a breath worker and he actually did a whole process with us. It just launched a couple weeks ago and that was really, really cool. But I think as you asked that question, I was like, laughter is one of the best medicines for our mental health. So I think it would be really cool to have somebody on my show that's a comedian or somebody that is really funny. So if anybody knows somebody they want to send my way, send them my way. And then we could just have a show of laughter. That would be so cool. So yeah, that's kind of my thought process with all of those.
Wow, I love it. And I must just let you know that Dr. Audrey, she is in UK. She's also E360 host. She has a show, a 2-hour special, 7 a.m. And then 7 p.m. she had a chuckles, a laughter show where she had a few people that come and tell stories and make people laugh. So you must also reach out to her. She will be amazing. So, my beautiful guest, how amazing all of you to be here. I know that all of you are beautiful, amazing hosts. So, please post your next shows in the Diamond Beauties and Tanzanite Heroes. I know a lot of women and ladies will follow you and go and visit you. Also, post your YouTube channel on because I know you will get more subscription as well as that. So, the only thing I wanted to ask, first of all, ask you to give us your golden nugget, but I want to tell Barbara, I am also going to have my own network soon. It's going to be called Your Voice TV Network, and that will be particularly for the Diamond Beauties and the Tanzanite Heroes to be able to have their own shows in the future. So I am over the moon for this opportunity that Aaron have given me. So I cannot wait to get started with that. So Kelly, we can start with you. What is your golden nugget?
We kind of talked about it earlier, but really, the golden nugget, especially lately, what I'm learning is that community, connection, and conversation are the things that can really, truly save people's lives. So, however that looks for you, find your community, find that connection, and let's have a conversation.
Oh, I love it, and I love. Although your voice is not that, is under the weather. Your voice is beautiful, Sarah. Can you please give us your golden nugget?
It is always darkest before dawn.
I love it. I love it. It's beautiful. My beautiful Barbara, what is your golden nugget?
My golden nugget is develop a growth mindset all the time. Look at your challenges in life and make them opportunities to grow and learn, not just from your own, but from others.
I love it. My beautiful Dave, what is your golden nugget?
Life does not have to be perfect to be amazing.
Ooh! I need to give you something special. Give me 1 minute, 1 second.
Ooh,
Are you ready?
bring it on.
I love it. My beautiful Laura. And what is your golden nugget? Oops, did I unmute you? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. If there's something you don't like and you can change it, then change it. If you can't, let it go. Because you can only control you. So, don't stress out over things you can't control. It's not worth it.
Okay. That is my entertainment for the children.
It's blue.
And then my beautiful Phil, what is your golden nugget?
I'll give you my mantra, and that's do what makes you happy. And if it causes too much anxiety, get rid of it. You don't need it.
So, Phil, can I get my African drum for you? Will you allow me to?
Sure, go ahead.
Here's my African drum. Can you see?
Yeah, I can.
I have a bigger one, but it's got straps that you have to put here because it's quite heavy. But this one I can pick up. So, my beautiful guests, I hope that you have enjoyed being here. It was an honor for me to be able to showcase all of you, not only on E360, but also on the Tanzanite Heroes and in the Diamond Beauties to showcase them how amazing you are. And I've got something special as well to show Aaron that we can work together because he was quite astonished when I showed him on Skype. That's how we communicate. My beautiful poster or banner of all my amazing guests. And he said, "Wow, Sanet, you are amazing." And I said, "Yes, Aaron, we are amazing." So I'm truly excited. So my beautiful Phil, Laura, Jeff, Barbara, Sarah, and Kelly, will you have a dance with me? What is that? What did you say, Laura? What's a shuffle? What is that shuffle?
That's a sprinkler. You gotta do the sprinkler.
Yeah. My beautiful viewers out there, will you have a sprinkle with us? They said yes. They said yes. Here we go. A sprinkler.
Walking on sunshine or dancing in the rain. Sprinkle me with fairy dust so I can fly away.